All right. Father of the Opinionator here. Welcome back. Thanks for listening. So, I'm going to respond here today to the Opinionator's video on gun control. I would like to be very clear that indeed, in this video, the Opinionator himself stated he would love to debate somebody on the gun control topic. I am more than willing to have that debate with you. And we'll use this video as somewhat of a platform to have that debate. You're welcome to respond if you'd like. You're welcome to disregard if you'd like. However, I should be clear that you did ask for this debate, right? You did state that you would love to have this debate. So here I am. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pause my recording, catch up to your points in your video, and then address each one. All right, so first things first, right? You talk about the mental health, and you talk about the rules and regulations to a degree that exist in order for people to get a gun. And so you're 100% correct. There are retail stores, places like Walmart, as an example, that do require a background check before you can purchase a firearm. Mom and pop stores, on the corner of your local small town selling guns, same type of situation. There's a lot of loopholes, though. Lots and lots of loopholes. You spoke about one of those loopholes, and that's going to a gun show, right? Going to a gun show is considered a private entity, right? It's a private sale, right? You go to the gun show, and maybe there's a manufacturer there who has a new type of gun, right? Well, he's there as a private seller, and you're there as a private citizen, and therefore that exchange, that purchase of goods, doesn't hold the same rules as purchasing a gun from a retail store, once again, like Walmart. The same rules apply if I buy a gun from you, right? So you and I, we're friends, we know each other, you have a bunch of guns, I want to buy a bunch of guns, I can buy them from you directly, no background checks needed, right? So that's, our background checks the end all be all? No. A lot of the lunatics, mass murderers that we have in our history, the United States history, a lot of these people have no history of violence, no history of gun violence, no criminal records, right? These people are not going to show up in a background check. Crazy people, even though they're crazy, often tend to be pretty smart, until they fuck around and get caught. I mean, that's the end all be all, right? You make a mistake and you get caught, right? But a lot of these crazy people who go out and carry duffel bags full of guns and ammunition into Las Vegas hotel rooms and shoot out a whatever 15-story window and mow down however many people, right, in that massacre. He had all of his guns purchased legally, right? Didn't he? I mean, I listen, it doesn't really matter. I don't really know, okay? The point in your video is that the point that you're making is that anybody's going to get a gun at any time, and banning guns isn't the solution. I agree with you 110%. Banning guns isn't the solution. As the citizens of this country, the United States of America, we have the right to bear arms, and we should have that right. But I think there's a lot of confusion as to why that right exists in the first place, right? The Second Amendment, the Constitution, the things that govern us as a people, these laws, rules, whatever you'd like to call them, they all exist from a time when the world was much different, right? We're talking about a time when, people still rode horses on purpose, right? They had to ride a horse on purpose, right? We're talking about a time where Indians, were being murdered by the white man, right? Stealing their land, right? But the Indians, they didn't have guns, so they're fighting back with their bows and arrows, right? There was a need for the guns and the rules that were created 200 years ago. 200 years ago. It's a long, long, long time 200 years, right? And you know, the problem is the problem that people have in terms of the gun laws that we have in this country is that as the world advances through technology, science, medicine, however, whatever advances we make as a world people, right? You know, a bunch of scientists, you know, across the globe discover a cure for cancer, right? Does the entire world shun that because, you know, it's unimportant, right? We're like, nah, listen, fuck India. We don't care that they cured cancer. We're not using their supposed cure because this is America, right? We do things we in our own way here in America, right? So it's kind of the same argument, right? We look at the other countries on the planet, other countries who have successfully limited their citizens' access to firearms. And these people have, these countries have much higher safety than the United States of America. They have a lot less murders in terms of gun violence, right? They have a lot less mass shootings in terms of gun violence, right? We have lots of examples across the entire globe of different models that work. But the United States, right? See, we hold so deeply onto these, these amendments, the Constitution, and as we should. Again, you know, don't take me wrong. I am not in any way somehow making the statement that we should abolish guns. I'm not saying we need to abolish the Second Amendment. Things need to progress in any civilization. The rules need to change as the people of that civilization progress, as we gain better understandings of the world around us, right? The rules need to change. They have to. Take the internet as an example, right? The internet is a perfect example of how the world changes and how the rules and regulations of the world need to change based on changes in society and technology and understanding. If we don't adjust the rules based on learning, if we don't make those adjustments, we will forever be stuck in the loop that we're currently in. The internet, how long has the internet existed? Let's talk about this real quick. The internet has only existed for what? 40, 50, I don't know, 60 years. I could Google it. It doesn't really matter, right? The point is, it's an infant. The internet is an infant technology in a society that is still living on 200-year-old rules. The internet is a very small infant little baby, right? All the technology associated with the internet is still trying to be understood by the people who make the rules and laws in this country. So the people who run the United States of America, you know, the president, the congressmen, the senators, all the people who are members of the government in one way or another still don't properly understand the rules of the internet, right? And it's not just necessarily the rules, but the technology associated with the rules that are in place right now, right? We have old ways of doing things. The internet has changed a lot of those rules, right? So take pirating as an example here, okay? So the internet is filled with pirates. Arg, you know what it is, okay? The Pirate Bay is a website that has facilitated piracy for over 10 years and cannot be shut down, right? Because the rules allow it to exist, right? Now, if we change the rules, then we could get rid of the Pirate Bay, right? The Pirate Bay could go away. But the rules would have to be changed across the entire globe. And we can't do that. The internet is bigger than that, right? So what do they do? What does the government try to do to skirt those rules? Well, lots and lots and lots of different things, right? They say, okay, we don't understand the technology, but if your IP address is caught sharing a movie, well, you're now guilty. However, well, here's another different part of the technology that they didn't comprehend. Well, what if my IP address is being used by somebody else? What if somebody else is on my Wi-Fi router downloading piracy, and now I'm being held accountable for that? Oh, well, shit. I guess we really can't, verify that with 100% certainty. So, it's not much we can do about it, right? So they've come to the idea that, listen, there's not much that we can do about piracy. It's really up to the rights holders, right? The people that own the property that's being pirated to figure out a way to save their intellectual property, right? That's what it comes down to. And then it becomes a capitalism issue at that point, right? Because now the money that say Hollywood, Universal Studios, Disney, all the money that they're losing is affecting their bottom line. So what do? They take it upon themselves, since the government can't regulate the technology properly. The studio, Hollywood, whatever, Disney, whoever, whatever, they take it upon themselves to try and recoup their losses from piracy, right? So what do? Well, they hire attorneys who don't actually understand the law as well. They hire lobbyists, right, to talk to the government about changing the regulations within the internet provider realm, right? Internet provider being, Charter, Time Warner, AT&T, whoever, okay, Spectrum, whoever you get your internet from, right? So what these companies do is they hire people to go talk to the government and say, hey, look, you know what the internet should be considered? The internet should be considered a taxable, a open playground for fees and regulations. Those who provide the internet should be able to charge whatever they'd like, however they'd like. If they want to piece it up into little tiny chunks and this is what you purchase, well, then they have the ability to do that, right? Again, though, the problem is the technology. Not the people who are in charge don't understand the technology, right? If you ever go through and watch the Pirate Bay's trial, you can find their trial on the internet. The people, the judges, the people enforcing the rules, passing judgment, don't understand the technology, and so therefore they can't properly judge. They can't properly rule. Now, how would that trial have gone? Say they had a bunch of 20 to 30 to 40-year-old tech-related people judging the people who are running the Pirate Bay, right? So if you have a bunch of people, it's like you and I having a debate here, right? You and I can have a debate all day. We come from different standpoints of the debate, right? Do you understand everything I understand, and do I understand everything you understand? No, of course not. You and I do not have the same training in terms of guns, in terms of experience with guns. Have I used them? Yes. Have I shot them? Yes. Yes, I can sit here and rattle off all the things. Have I been to a gun range? Sure. But none of that's relevant in terms of the conversation that you and I are going to have. The conversation is about solutions. That's what the conversation should be about. That's what the debate should be about. But we can't have solutions if the people making the rules don't understand the advances that the people have made, right? When you have 70-year-old, 80-year-old people who are running the show all across the entire country, the United States, right? The people who run the country are the same set of people who've been running the country for, again, the last 200 to 300 years. Whatever the math is, okay? Doesn't matter. The rules and ideas, right, are being passed on from one family member to a new government official, right? So let me break that down. What does that mean, right? It means that Tom is a senator of California, right? And Tom says, I love guns. My family grew up with gods and guns, right? And so me, as the guy who has the ability to change the rules and laws in the state of California, I'm going to gear my changes towards my own beliefs, right? Because that's what I believe in. These are the things that have been instilled in me since birth. I believe in Jesus and I believe in guns, and I'm never going to remove those things. Now, the people, right? Supposedly, the people of the state of California have the ability to vote again, supposedly, to approve or deny Tom's changes to the rules, right? So we can all rally together and we can say we oppose Tom's rules, and we can all rally together and say we agree with Tom's rules. At the end of the day, though, it's more than just Tom, isn't it? Right? There are more people than just Tom who make the rules. Take the presidential election as an example, right? I know that I'm going off on some tangents here, and I understand that, but it's all relevant in the grand scheme of the entire conversation here, okay? The Electoral College is how Donald Trump became president, not because he won the popular vote. Now, the Electoral College has existed for quite a while in our government, in the way we elect our presidents, okay? But where does the people's vote truly matter if the Electoral College is how the president was elected, right? So Hillary got the popular vote, meaning the people voted for Hillary. But because of the way the Electoral College is, Donald Trump was elected, even though the people, the majority of the people, did not vote for him. Well, we can go back and that's a whole nother debate that we won't get into. But the point is, the rules, the regulations, the laws that exist within this country are made by the same people and enforced by the same people who have been doing it since the time of the United States Constitution, right? It's all a very long line of belief structures that have existed since the inception of the United States of America, and we hold on to those. But here's the problem that you mentioned in your video as well, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger says, I don't like, this big 50 cal gun. I don't like people having the access to potentially shoot down airplanes with this gun, right? I can go and I can buy one of those, and if I wanted to, I could shoot down an airplane. Is that true? Probably. It's a big fucking gun, okay? But you made a very valid point, right? Is that, since he banned the 50 cal, we'll just make another gun just a little bit smaller. We'll call it a 48 cal, right? And we'll skirt the law because why? Because capitalism, right? It's the same reason we have things like bump stocks that are available for purchase. It's the same reason, again, to your point, we have assault rifles that are classified as pistols, simply because what? A barrel doesn't reach the maximum inches, so therefore it's not actually an assault rifle. It's actually a pistol. And firearms and handguns, handguns and pistols, we consider those perfectly safe and legitimate items of protection in this country. But again, we all know, what capitalism allows. Capitalism allows people to build things that skirt the law. Well, we can argue. We can say, that's just what it is. We have that right? I can sit in my basement if I want, and I can, invent something new. I could, and if I invent it and I can sell it, as long as it doesn't break any laws and rules, I'm free to do so. So if I just simply create an attachment that makes, every single gun fire lasers, well, so be it, right? Right? Lasers, with the technology of lasers, we know a lot about lasers right now. But if I created an attachment that was just simply a laser that attached to a gun, it's far-fetched, but the point exists, right? The point is that if a normal person or a business creates something that doesn't skirt the rules, doesn't break the rules, okay, but allows for the rules to be, I don't know what, looped around, right? We can't have 50 cals, but we can have a 49 cal. All right then. Well, there you go. Congratulations, you skirted the rules, and now you have a 49 cal gun that could probably still shoot down an airplane. That's the type of shit that people who have problems with the gun rules, the gun laws in this country, those are the things that we have problems with, right? We have a problem with the ability for companies to skirt the rules and being allowed to skirt the rules. Well, we can't have AK-47s, but we can have something very similar because it's now a pistol, right? So that's the problem here. There needs to be lines drawn, right? What does a normal person need a 50 caliber rifle for? Seriously. I mean, if you want to talk about sports, we can talk about sports all day, all right? But where does the line draw, right? Do we draw a line that say, okay, yes, these guns can exist, but no person can own them, and if you want to shoot them for sport, this is what you need to do so, right? The guns are be stationed at locations A, B, C, and those are the only places you can fire those weapons. You can never own one personally. Is that a good alternative? In my opinion, sure. Why not? We can't kill capitalism. We can't kill people's ability to create new things, right? That's not a rule that we can create, but we can regulate and say, okay, you can make that, but nobody needs it. I'm sorry. You don't need a bump stock for any sport or any animal or any defense. You don't need that. No normal person needs that. No normal person needs those items. Whether you want to argue sport or not, it doesn't matter. It's not that those items, those things are the reason people do what they do, right? How many mass shootings have we heard about a guy carrying a 9mm, right? How many 9mm mass shootings have there been in the last 20 years? I don't know. I could look it up. I'm sure there's a number somewhere, right? But the point is, I'm sure that it's far, far, far less than the mass shootings of people with semi-automatic rifles, semi-automatic pistols, bump stocks, whatever you want to call them, okay? The point is, these weapons allow people to kill massive amount of people in a very short amount of time. And that's the problem. Whether every student or every teacher carries a pistol with them, or every security guard carries a pistol with them, maybe he gets shot in the 30 seconds it takes him to kill 30 people. Maybe he gets shot. Maybe he doesn't. Right? See, that's the other thing too. A lot of the arguments that are being made for why everybody should have guns, a lot of these arguments hold no water in regards to the world we live in. Okay, the world has progressed, and the world is going to continue to progress. And unless we, as a society, continue to progress, these things will forever exist. These things will forever continue to happen. Because what reason do they have to stop? Is a background check enough? In my opinion, no, it isn't enough. I don't know what the solution is, unfortunately. That's a big problem with the people like myself who believe that changes should come. See, I'm conflicted because on one hand, I truly believe that we should have the right to bear arms. On the other hand, I truly believe that there are things that fall underneath that first rule that don't need to exist, that normal citizens do not need to have access to. That it leads all into a whole nother debate about, the government and fighting against the government and protecting ourselves from the government. Because, right, that at the end of the day, the reason the Second Amendment was created was to allow its citizens to basically defend itself against its government. Right? We have to remember that the United States was created because a group of people left one country. Right? We didn't like the way the country was doing things, and so we decided to leave and create our own shit. Right? And we're here now, and we've made these rules, and we said, listen, we don't want tyrannical governments. We don't want the government to have all of the control. So let's create a set of rules and guidelines that help us. The Second Amendment was part of that. The Second Amendment said the people of its country should have the ability to defend itself against its government if needs be. Well, if you take a look at history, right, all of the people who have stood up to the government in one way or another to try and make that change, to create a revolution, all of those people have been either murdered or imprisoned by the very government they set to oppose. So think about that and think about how unnecessary the items we have access to in this country are. There's a lot of unnecessary things that allow us to kill things very quickly. Yes, guns don't kill people. People kill people. That is without a doubt. And that statement there alone, right? Guns don't kill people. People kill people. Should give us the exact flaw that exists in the laws, right? Everybody wants to argue about the guns, but it's the fucking people that are the problem. And people are ignorant.